All right. All right. Just some announcements. Please silence your cell phones at this time. If you need to take any calls, please step out into the lobby and take your calls then. Use the microphone when asking your questions. So there is people on Zoom right now and maybe even Facebook Live. So if you hold the mic down like this, they really cannot hear you. But if you hold it up like this, they can hear you loud and clear. So for the sake of everyone involved, please use the microphone. We will be handing them out. So if you have a question, just put your hand up or give us some type of eye contact and we'll bring you a mic over. Online attendees, please use the Q&A box when asking all your questions. There is amazing cake and cookies in the back that will pair well with that coffee you're drinking. And then we ask that you hold all conversations until the end of class. You will have a chance to network with each other a little bit more. My name is Jamie. I started here as a student. That is me with my first contract signed. Right here, 6 months after student, and my first deal I had $105,000 in equity. So Julian, how many deals of like that would you like to do? Of course. Well, you're in the right place to learn. I'm also a senior student liaison here at Investor School, and I'm a real estate investor and stock option trader. I'm passionate about helping all of you reach your goals, and a lot of you know because you text me often and I respond right away. I'm also a mother of a beautiful baby girl who is singing for us in the back of the room. And there she is, Juliana. At this time, I would like to welcome our first timers. I spoke to Julian and I did not get a chance to speak to John, but those are our first timers in the room. So let's talk to Julian. Julian, just please introduce yourself. Debbie's going to bring you a mic. Introduce yourself. Tell us what your interest is and how you heard about Investor Schooling.
Is the mic on? Okay. Hi, I'm Julian. I'm actually working for the Bucks County Republican Committee.
What is it?
Nice to meet you. Oh yeah. Big red, big red.
I told you they would like that,
Yeah,
right?
I know. I got
He
some
said-
good feedback.
He's a man that listens. She said they're gonna like this. I'm not even gonna say anything else. I'm gonna let them know that I'm from the Republican committee first. Well done.
Thank you, thank you. I actually heard about investor schooling. I was on the highway and I actually saw a billboard. I was like, whoa. Yeah, billboard, yeah. And then I just thought, okay, why not inquire? And then, yeah, and this is like the right place to be, I think. So hopefully I could achieve some goals.
Awesome. Well, welcome, and we're so happy that you're here and that you're a Republican.
Thank you. Yep.
Let's talk to John.
I'm John. I'm a project manager for a logistics company. I'm also a Republican. Just like Julian, I saw the billboard every morning as I drive down 95, and I figured I'd sign up and see what it was all about.
That's awesome. Julian, you seen it on 95 as well? Or Turnpike? Okay, well, we're very happy to have you, John. What is your interest? Is it stock options or real estate or both?
Real estate initially.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, you're going to get sucked into the stock options like us. We all do. Well, we're very happy to have you here tonight. If this is your first time with us online, please raise your hand. Let's bring on Benoit. Please unmute your microphone. Tell us what your interest is and how you heard about Investor Schooling.
Hey there, I'm Benoit. My interest is on real estate investing, possibly stock options, but I do a little bit of that already, but definitely eager to learn more. And I already forgot the second question.
How did you hear about us?
Yes. I heard about you through a friend, Damien, who took this course, I guess, many years ago.
Damien, does his last name begin with an M?
Yes, I believe so. I actually don't know his last name.
Yeah, he's still a student here, so welcome, and we're very happy to have you as well.
Awesome, thank you.
All right, and let's bring on Tony. Tony raised his hand. He was also a first timer. Tony, please unmute your microphone, and then same thing. Please tell us what your interest is and how you heard about Investor Schooling. all the way at the bottom. Tony B. There we go. Tony, can you please unmute your microphone? Okay, I think we're having some tech issues, so we're going to move on. But welcome everybody for the first time, and we look forward to speaking with you more and getting to know what your interest is and how we can help you as well. What to expect if this is your first time with us. This is an actual class. This is not a session. You may not understand some of the concepts, but you will learn them over time. As a school, we teach the following topics, and this class may include any one of the following: real estate investing, stock option investing, credit repair and credit building, money mindset, marketing, business concepts, asset protection, strategies for paying less taxes, understanding investments such as annuities, life insurance, mutual funds, IRAs, self-direct IRAs, and many more wealth building techniques.
And you need to add health benefits too, because Phil just gave a great class the other night.
Oh my God, I know. We're not going to get into that, but I agree. And health benefits. You'll be invited to the Monday night mastermind, and then you will be invited to become a member of the school. So just relax and enjoy. I would like to give a round of applause to all of our new students. Most of them are online, but we want to check in with them. But just a round of applause for all the new students who are changing their life and all the students who continue to change their life. This Wednesday, is it this Wednesday? No. Next Wednesday, October 27th, we are going to be hanging out at Chambers, having some drinks, some light appetizers, and just networking with each other. You can join us by RSVPing at investorschooling.com/chambers. Who in this room has Chambers yet? I'm shocked, John. All right. Well, pull out your phone, put it on your calendar. What are you doing on Wednesday the 27th? Now you know. So there's no excuses for it now. Okay. We have our event coming up tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday. If you want to be registered, this is your last chance. As you know, we give a lot of great content here. This is going to be a 3-day event. I've been here for 2 years. There's never been a 3-day event. So it's going to be powerful. I'm looking forward to it. We're going to be covering money, marketing, and masterminding. If you use the coupon code Thursday or Monday, you will get $250 off. If you need help registering for this event, please see me after. If you're online, please message in the Q&A box, and I'll be happy to help you as well. Just simply go to yearofthegoodlife.com. And for those of you already registered, we look forward to seeing you tomorrow bright and early. We also like to help other people change their lives. So we encourage everyone here to pull out your phone, go on Facebook, you use Instagram, whatever it is, and just check in. As you can see, an example here says Jamie Lenigan is at Investor Schooling, and I just checked in. So that way other people can see what I'm doing, and maybe I can help change. Don't forget, we have the Monday Mastermind. This is a completely different format than what you're sitting in right now. So we're actually sitting around a table as shown in this picture here, and we're actually talking about what we're working on, what you're working on, how we can help each other move forward faster. Somebody brought something to my attention. They thought on the Zoom you will be able to find out more about the school. I will actually be calling you tomorrow, and we will set for you to learn more about becoming a part of the school. You will not do it online if you're on Zoom, but if you're in person, you can. All right, that's from 6 to 8:30. And then we have an exclusive stock options only mastermind that runs from 6 to 6:30. Don't forget to stick around. The stock options Sultan will be here at 8:45. And for those of you who don't know, that guy is going to help you make some money this week. He helped me make $2,000 last week. So our first speaker tonight is Paige Panzarello. Paige is a real estate investor and entrepreneur for almost 25 years. She's been purchasing non-performing notes since 2014. Paige teaches the Building Wealth with Notes program, and I actually attended one of those, and I love Paige. I love her straightforwardness, and I love her teaching style. So please help me welcome Paige Panzarello. I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
There we go. Now I can hear you.
There we go.
Voted.
Okay, well, Paige is on Zoom, so we're going to put our attention up here. So round of applause for Paige Panzarello.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Larry. It's so great to be back at Investor Schooling. You guys are in. If you're new, this group of people is amazing. And so I encourage you to definitely network with them, get involved, get your hands in, because they're just tremendous people and they've had such great success stories. So I'm thrilled to be a speaker here tonight. I'm thrilled to be associated and know all of them. So thank you for having me. Tonight, we're going to be talking about non-performing notes, which is an area of real estate investing that a lot of people don't necessarily know about. So I'm going to do my best in a short period of time to teach you a little bit about what I do and non-performing notes. So I just want to make sure everybody can see me. Let me pull, and we are going to have questions, by the way, at the end. So just everybody write them down. If you have a question that I don't answer, please write them down and we will get to them at the end, because this is a little bit of a niche kind of form of real estate investing, but I think that you're going to find that you love it as much as I do. So let me share my screen. Make sure everybody can see my screen. There we go. And pull my chat box up, sorry, so I can see that. There is none of that. All right, so if everybody could help me out with the Q&A, just put it in the Q&A, and maybe Jamie, you could help me at the end with the questions, or Larry. Okay, so, and could somebody just let me know that you can see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen in the room.
All right, thank you, because I can't see that through here. All right, so a little bit about me. As you were told, I have been a real estate investor for going on 25 years now. I've done just about everything there is to do in real estate and real estate investing. My current focus is on first position non-performing notes, and I'm going to explain that in just a minute. But when I started in real estate, everybody, I didn't choose real estate. Real estate chose me. I was in my 20s. I had a family member that passed away with a very sizable estate. And I'm getting some feedback now. Can anybody hear that? Did we just change? Hold on, you guys. I'm sorry.
We can hear.
I wasn't having any feedback, but did we change a setting?
Yes, because the Zoom could not hear you. We can hear you now.
Oh.
Gonna.
All right, let me see if I can maybe reduce my sound. I'm sorry, guys. This is one of the things that I was not gifted with. Give me real estate and I've got lots of gifts, but when it comes to tech stuff, that's not my thing. All right. I think that's a little better. Can you all hear me?
Zoom cannot hear you. If you're on Zoom, can you hear her? Much better.
Okay.
Oh, okay. We're all
right. I think we got it. I'm going to try and.
Yes, we're good.
I'm still getting a massive amount of feedback. All right. Is that any better?
Paige, are you still getting feedback?
When I speak, yes, but it's not as bad.
How about now?
Okay, let me speak, and I'm getting some, but yes, I am getting it.
How about now?
Let's try it. That's good. I'm not getting feedback now.
Okay, can the Zoom attendees hear Paige?
Hopefully everybody can hear me.
Yes, we're good. We'll move on.
Okay. We got it. Thank you. It's difficult to continue speaking when you're hearing yourself speaking a half a second behind. All right. So back to a little bit about me. So again, my grandmother passed away. She had a very large estate. It was $4 million in debt. We had holdings in California and also in Arizona. So I went off in my 20s, knowing nothing about real estate. And I went off to Arizona to figure out what I could do with these critically in debt holdings. We had 38 townhome units, only occupied about 40%. And the 60% that were not occupied, most of those were broken, meaning they were not habitable. We had some land, and we also had a sewer treatment plant. So long story short, and we didn't have things like this. There wasn't Zoom. I mean, there was barely the internet back then. We didn't have RIA meetings and investor schooling and places we could go to learn how to do this stuff. So I had to surround myself with people that had answers to the questions I was asking. I was very, very fortunate in that I was able to work with a lot of the people that we owed money to. And I just came up with a plan and said, this is what I'm going to do, and this is how I'm going to pay you back. And if you'll help me, then I will get there and I will pay you back. Well, fast forward about 18 months, I paid everyone back, and got myself and the company back into the black. I fixed all the broken units, and we got to 100% occupied. And as I was going along, I was realizing how much I really liked this real estate thing, right? I was fixing and flipping before I realized what fixing and flipping was. And I realized I also had a head for it. Well, about 24 months into it, I figured out that we were not going to be able to sustain profitability by holding on to all these assets. So we ended up selling the sewer treatment plant. We ended up selling, and I went to my family and I said, I want to sell all of these townhome units and I want to build on the land. And they said, that's all fine and good, Paige, but we don't want to do that. That sounds like nothing but work and a headache. And so we don't want any part of that. And I said, all right, then I want to buy the company. And so I did. I bought the company. And again, knowing nothing about building or construction or any of that stuff. So I leveraged, the remaining assets. I was able to buy the company. I started to build on the land, and I realized, I designed a project with a contractor and an architect, realized very quickly when we started building that contractor was going to bankrupt me. And so I fired him and I started my own construction company. Again, knowing nothing about construction or how to do this, but I found somebody to come into my corporation, become a shareholder of my corporation. He was our qualifying party, and very quickly we ended up having all of our licenses except for HVAC and roofing. And the only reason we didn't have those is because the liability insurance was too high. So fast forward a few more years, within 3 years, we were the largest private employer in this small area in Arizona. We had 36 employees. We were building everybody's projects, my own projects. We were just making money hand over fist. But I will tell you, I was working myself into an early grave. I was literally working 7 days a week, 18 hours a day, and the stress of it was horrendous. Not to mention the fact that I was in Arizona because I had to be on site. So I was in Arizona and away from my family and friends in California. So the crash of 2007, 2008 was coming about, and I actually saw it coming. The problem was, and I thought to myself, you know what, Paige, this isn't going to happen to you because you are not over leveraged, right? I was only encumbered about 10%. I had a lot of assets. I had built up my relationships with my lenders, et cetera. And I thought, this is not going to happen to you. Boy, was I wrong. The reason is that I didn't realize that the people that owed me money were not going to be able to pay me. And when you're in big construction, it's generally anywhere between 90 and 120 days that you're carrying all of those costs. And at the time I was running payroll at $25,000 a week. So you can imagine how incredibly stressful that was. When the crash happened, I thought, okay, what am I going to do? Am I going to, because I wasn't getting paid from all the people that owed me money. And I thought, what am I going to do? Am I going to file bankruptcy like a lot of people did and could, and that was certainly my legal right, or do I fire sale everything and pay off everybody I owe? And I chose to do choice number 2. I literally liquidated everything, fire sale prices. It took me 3 years. I paid everybody I owed money to, and I walked out of Arizona not having a penny to my name. I actually lost $20 million. Now, believe it or not, I call that a very difficult learning experience, but I also call it a blessing. And the reason that I call it a blessing is because it taught me who I am as an investor. It taught me how I treat money. It taught me how I interact with my investors and my students. It gave me passion to understand that people have life happen to them every single day. And so I went away from real estate investing for a little while, understandably. But it is my passion. So I came back in. And when I came back in, I discovered this little thing called notes. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So notes, let's find out about this, right? What are notes? What is a note? And do you really become the bank? And the answer is yes, you really do become the bank. A note is basically just a promise to pay, everybody. That's all it is. There are many different types of notes, but a note is basically just a promise to pay. And when you're a notes investor, you step into the shoes as the bank. And I'll explain that in a moment. Okay, so there are different types of notes that you can buy, right? You can buy notes on real estate, meaning mortgages or deeds of trust. Those terms are interchangeable depending upon if it's a judicial or a non-judicial foreclosure state, okay? So let's call them mortgages for tonight, okay? So notes are basically just buying that mortgage, that promise to pay, and the mortgage secures the promise to pay and attaches it to the house. That's what a note is in notes investing, right? You can buy notes on cars. You can buy credit card notes, right? So every time you sign the pad, it used to be the piece of paper, right? But when you sign that pad, when you're buying something with a credit card, you're basically creating a note and promising to pay the bank back for the money that they're fronting you to buy that item. Now, that credit card debt is an unsecured note. There's nothing to collect if you stop paying. There are secured notes like real estate notes, where the house, if you stop paying your mortgage, then the bank is gonna come and foreclose on your house and possibly take your house, okay? So that's what I mean by when you come into notes and note investing, you literally step into the shoes of the bank and you become the bank, okay? So just call me Mrs. Chase, right? Okay, so there's secured notes, unsecured notes, there's first position notes, second position notes, third position notes, HELOCs. There's all different kinds of notes. HELOC stands for Home Equity Line of Credit. Oftentimes those are in a second position behind your original mortgage, okay? Now I focus on first position, non-performing notes secured by real estate, okay? And it sounds crazy because a non-performing note is exactly what it sounds like. The borrower has stopped paying their mortgage, okay? And that sounds counterintuitive. Like, how do you make any money doing that? And I'm going to get to that in just a moment, but let me say this. The reason that it is so profitable for me as the bank and buying non-performing notes, as opposed to those that are performing when the borrower is still paying their mortgage, is that in a non-performing note situation, I buy those notes at a very big discount. I don't buy the note based on what is owed. I buy the note at a very big discount based on the current market value of the securing collateral, which is the house, okay? So I'm going to do an evaluation on the house, determine its current market value, like what is the best I can get for it in its as-is condition, and then discount it deeply from there. Now that doesn't wipe, that just establishes my purchase price. And I'm going to give you an example in just a minute, but it does not mean that that debt has been wiped away. The borrower still owes every penny of the amount of money that is due, regardless of the value of the home. Okay. That's an important key to note. Okay. All right. And I'm going to get there in just a minute. Just keep with me. I'm often asked, is there competition in note investing? And the answer is yes. Like any kind of real estate investing, there is competition. The beauty part about note investing is that it's a very collaborative space, okay? I call it the gentler form of notes investing, or real estate investing is notes investing. That's the gentler form, because you don't have, I don't go to auctions. I don't have bidding wars. I don't have to do, I mean, people aren't paying crazy prices well over asking. And I'm not beholden to the market and the market cycles, right? So the competition is more that the asset manager is going to send me a tape, meaning an Excel spreadsheet that gets sent directly to my inbox. I do my evaluation and I put in a bid, and the asset manager will either say yes, no, or they're going to counter the offer. But there's no craziness. Here's another really cool thing about the note investing space being very collaborative over competitive is oftentimes you can, especially as a new note investor, you can buy maybe one or two notes. It's called cherry picking. You can buy one or two notes, whatever your budget will allow. Sometimes, though, they send out a tape that is called a pool buy, and that means that you have to buy all of the assets that are on that tape. The collaboration part comes in is as you grow as note investors, you start to develop relationships with other note investors, and sometimes we go in together to buy that pool. So it's a very collaborative space, more than competitive space. But of course, there are other note investors that are looking at that same tape, right? And they're going to be making their bids on that same tape as well. So there is competition. It's just a lot gentler, and it's a lot more, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not nearly as frenetic, meaning it's not so frenzied, right? Okay, so how do I find deals? The cool thing is that I spend zero marketing dollars for my deals. No money at all. I don't do yellow letters. I don't do bandit signs. I don't cold call. I don't door knock. I don't do any of those things. I spend my money going to conferences and establishing relationships with asset managers and other note investors. And in doing that, and asset managers sounds very daunting, you guys. They're normal people. It's just a matter of establishing a relationship with them. That's all. And talking with them. They're not the big bad asset manager. They're very approachable, and most of them are willing to help all the time. So once I establish these relationships, literally the tapes, meaning the Excel spreadsheet with all of the assets they have for sale, it literally gets delivered to my inbox. And I sit at my computer, and that's how I find deals. They come directly to me because I've established relationships with asset managers. Okay. So again, I can literally be anywhere in the world and do this business. I can be on a beach. As long as I have a cell phone and an internet connection, I can do this business. And that really appealed to me after having been in Arizona for so long and away from my family and friends. Those of you that have a full-time job, this might be a terrific supplement for you because again, and you're going to find out in just a few minutes that when you're a notes investor, the large part of your time is dedicated upfront before you buy that note. And then you hand it off to your team members and they handle the heavy lifting on the day-to-day stuff. So your majority of time is spent before you buy the note doing your due diligence, and then you hand it off. So it is a really good fit for those of you that have a full-time job as well. Okay, so this is an important fact. I wanted to talk a little bit about current market trends. We are in a really interesting time right now as note investors. As we all know, the world's on fire. I heard that, that I'm encouraged by the responses in the room earlier, because all of you are entrepreneurs and you're looking to satisfy and keep your hard-earned dollars in your pocket, right? As opposed to paying it in taxes. So, there are some. I'm just thrilled to have a room full of entrepreneurs and have such elevation and elation at that thought of keeping taxes lower, right? Okay. So, and let me back this up a little bit. I'm going to give you a couple of different things that have happened over COVID. Now, I understand everybody, it's hard for me to say because my heart is breaking of what is happening at this country, right? In this country, people are hurting. They're really hurting. And they're going to be hurting a lot worse. That's why I say it's an interesting time for note investors, because the opportunity for us is massive. Unfortunately, it's because people are hurting, because life is happening to them. All right. So some current market trends. Now, again, COVID really stalled a lot of things out in 2020 because we all knew about moratoriums on foreclosure, evictions, etc. This is a program that I subscribe to that gives me updates on real-time data, and they pull from all of the banks to acquire exactly how much outstanding debt is out there. Now, this is just my little niche right there. This does not include, this is residential 1 to 4 family, first position liens, okay? This does not include, these numbers do not include seconds. They don't include mobile homes. They don't include farmland, commercial, multifamily, none of that. Industrial, none of that. This is just residential 1 to 4 first position loans, okay? Now, at the end of Q2, so the end of June 2021, we had a total of $62.17 billion in bad debt, okay? And this is just the mortgages. Of that, 90-day plus late is and still accruing was 24.5 billion. Non-accrual, which means anything over 90 days and beyond, is at almost $23 billion. So $62.17 billion in bad debt happening. And this is June of 2021. Now, keep in mind that this is after the forbearance plans were put in place, deferring payment for people, okay? But before, this number came in before any of all of the moratoriums were still in place. The moratoriums stopped in July, August, and September was the end of the last moratoriums being put in place. The September numbers have not yet come in. They're still being compiled, but I want to show you this. These are some headlines, okay? These are September 2021 headlines and October 2021 headlines. I'm watching what's going on. I've been saying for months, for actually a year now, there's a tidal wave of product that's about to hit the market. And I talk about it in my workshop too, with how to address all of this and become a notes investor, and how you can capitalize and help people to stay in their home. My goal is to work with my borrower and keep them in their home. I don't necessarily want the house, but there are notes investors that are out there that go just for the house, and you can do that. You're doing it the backdoor way because you're going to become the bank first, and then you're going to hopefully be able to go in. If you want the house, there are steps that you can take. We're going to talk about the exit strategies in just a minute to be able to secure that house and do something with that house, okay? All right, so September 2021, the foreclosure rate rose for the second month in a row. So think about this, July and August, by 27%. 2 months, everybody, and that's because the moratoriums ended. The same thing happened, within a month after the government's pandemic-related moratorium was lifted, Foreclosure filings rose 27%. Then this last headline down here on the bottom left corner is from October. I literally just got this today. And it just touches on Michigan. Michigan alone, everybody, 65% increase during the third quarter of this year. Compared to the second quarter of 2021, 65% increase. And a year ago, third quarter 2020, that's up 143%. Okay. States having the highest foreclosure rates in Q3 in Nevada and Illinois both. One house out of every 1,400 is in foreclosure. In New Jersey, it's one house out of every 1,600. And in Florida, one out of every 1,700. There's a massive amount of product coming to market, which spells opportunity for all of us note investors. Not only are we going to be able to build our wealth, but we're also, and secure our retirement and our future, we're also going to hopefully be able to help people stay in their home and combat that life has happened to them. Okay. Really quick, last year, there is a fund called Oaktree Capital. Howard Marks runs that fund. It's $19.4 billion under management. They started a fund just to buy distressed debt. They were looking to raise $16 billion, and they did. Okay. They're not stupid, everybody. They see the writing on the wall as well. All right, so let's talk about some exit strategies. In note investing, one of the beautiful things about it is that there's an opportunity to pivot. We are not beholden to one exit strategy. We actually have 23 different exit strategies available to us in notes investing. We mainly only use 4, okay? And we're going to talk about that right now, okay? Before we talk about that, let's talk about some numbers so we can apply it when we talk about the exit strategy. Okay, so for instance, remember when I said I buy at a discounted rate based on the current market value of the securing collateral? I don't buy on the amount of money that's owed. So for example, we have an unpaid principal balance. That just means the base amount of the loan that has not yet been paid is $100,000. Because I buy non-performing notes, these people have stopped paying, which means that there's some corporate advances, which I don't have time to explain. Just know that there are fees that you can pay on behalf of your borrower, and they are recoverable. They become part of what we call the legal collectible balance, okay? Also part of the legal collectible balance is default interest and missed payments. So in this instance, and we're going to keep the numbers really simple, but in this instance, the legal collectible balance is $120,000. So the 120 is the amount of money that's owed. The current market value of the house, however, in this example is $80,000. So clearly our borrower is underwater by $40,000, which is very daunting for a borrower, all right? When I come in, I will step into the bank's shoes. I'm going to buy this note based on the $80,000, not on the 120, even though the 120 is due, okay? Now, for easy math, because it's the evening time and it's a Thursday night, we're gonna use 50%. Now, I will tell you, it was a little higher, but it is also coming down. When I first started in notes investing, I was buying between 36 and 42 cents on the dollar. That's where I was buying these notes. So I took the current market value of the property and I was buying anywhere between 36 and 42 cents on that dollar. Right now, we're going to use 50 cents because that's about where we're landing right now, but it's about to go down. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, obviously, I can't promise that, but in my experience and watching real estate and real estate cycles, that's what happens, okay? So we purchased this note at 50% of current market value that's securing collateral. So we purchased for $40,000, but I'm owed 120. Now, just like fixing and flipping property, we have to fix and flip this note. So we have what we call workout costs, workout expenses. Some people use rehab costs, right? I call them workout costs. So they're generally anywhere between $5,500 and $8,500, but for this example, we're going to use nice even numbers and use $5,000. Okay. So all in for this note is $45,000. I'm automatically building in an equity cushion of $35,000 because if I had to foreclose on this house, and I'm going to talk about that in a second, and sell this property, I probably could only get about $80,000 for it. Okay, if I can get more, great. But if not, then I have to be satisfied with my numbers based on that $80,000. So I build in an equity cushion immediately of $35,000. So if the market corrects and drops, then I'm still got that equity cushion, and at worst case scenario, I'm probably at a break even. Okay, very likely not, because historically the real estate market has never corrected over 20%, especially not 50% in less than 6 months. So I'm going to have a heads up warning if that's going to happen. Okay, but again, 23 exit strategies, everybody. I can pivot and do something else to create, if there is going to be potentially a loss, I can offset that. Okay. So exit strategies, keeping in mind all of our numbers there off to the right side. Our unpaid principal balance is 100. Our legal collectible is 120. That's how much we're owed. We're only into this note for $45,000. The four main exit strategies that we use are these: foreclosure, deed in lieu of foreclosure, short sale, and a reperforming situation. My least favorite of all four is the foreclosure. Now, we have judicial and non-judicial foreclosure states, which means that in a judicial foreclosure state, that's about 50% of the country, you have to go to court and ask the court's permission to foreclose on that property. Now, some states, like New York, I don't invest in, because when going to court in New York takes about 4 years. I want to be in and out of my notes anywhere between 12 and 16 months. So I avoid certain states that are judicial that have lengthy judicial times. Ohio, however, is generally anywhere between, it used to be 8 and 12 months. Now it's running about 12 to 16 months. But I've had a lot of success in Ohio. So and I talk about this in the workshop, what states to look at, what are judicial, non-judicial, what their foreclosure times are, et cetera, et cetera. So knowing that is a key piece of your information when you're doing your due diligence and looking at these notes. Now, non-judicial foreclosure states, the other 50% of the country, generally you're going to take anywhere between around 6 months. Okay, give or take a few months. I've had foreclosures that have happened way sooner. I've had foreclosures in non-judicial foreclosure states that have happened take a little bit longer. It just depends on the note. Okay, but let's say that we take this note that we're owed 120. Current market value of the property is only 80. Let's say that it's a little rough and we don't want to end up with the property. So let's say we discount it a little bit and we put the foreclosure auction as the bank. We get the opening bid. So we start that foreclosure auction at $70,000. Now, if this is a non-judicial foreclosure state and 6 months later, if we sell that property at $70,000, we've now made $25,000 by just buying a piece of paper, right? We didn't swing a hammer. We didn't do anything to it. We just bought the piece of paper properly, right? So you can figure out your ROI, and I have some examples at the end of some of those different transactions that we've done, all right? What if we sell it at foreclosure auction? What if there's a bidding war and it goes up to $80,000? Well, now we've got our $35,000 back. So there's a lot of profit potential in note to note investing, even in my least favorite exit strategy, which is foreclosure. The next exit strategy is short sale, and everybody knows what a short sale is. We're owed $120,000, but the borrower comes to us and says, you know what, we don't want a foreclosure on our credit, and so we would like to sell this. Are you willing to short the sale? Meaning we owe you $120,000, but our borrower comes in and says, I've got a buyer for $80,000, or would you be willing for me to put the house up for sale and short it at $80,000? Of course I'm going to say yes. How fast am I going to say yes? Because I anticipated that, right? I expected that. Generally, short sales, depending upon the market, are going to take anywhere between 3 and 6 months. But let's say we get lucky and somebody really on the same street wants to buy this house for a family member. and they're willing to pay a little over what current market value is. They're willing to pay us $90,000. So instead of the $80,000 we were expecting, we get an extra bump, and instead of $35,000, we now have literally doubled our money in 3 to 6 months. Who likes investing in real estate the way I invest in real estate, right? It's exciting. Deed in lieu of foreclosure. So a deed in lieu of foreclosure is simply when the borrower says, I don't want to be here. I don't want a foreclosure on our record. I am willing to sign the deed to the house over to you, Mrs. Chase, and you take the house as payment in full for my loan. So I'm not going to owe you any more money. Okay. Now that sounds great, and it does happen. There are some pitfalls to this. And again, in the workshop, we talk about what to look for in a deed in lieu of foreclosure. For instance, judgments or liens, a second position mortgage behind us. Okay. If there's that in a deed in lieu of foreclosure, if you take the deed as payment for your loan goes away, and anybody behind you moves up a step, and you as the new homeowner are now beholden to those liens. So there are some pitfalls that I teach you how to look for, but it's one of those exit strategies that can be very beneficial, and it's very quick, everybody. Deed in lieu of foreclosure generally takes anywhere between 3 and 6 months, and it's just because we need to get the paperwork signed with our borrower. Now, you could sell this as an REO, right? REO stands for real estate owned. You can sell it as an REO for $80,000 or more, or maybe even a little less, right? But you could also, if you're a fix and flip investor, now you've got the property, you can hold on to it and fix it and flip it yourself. You can turn it into a short-term rental. You can turn it into a buy and hold property, meaning you fix it and then you put a renter in there full time. You can do all of those different things and make money not once but twice on the same asset, which is pretty cool. Reperforming is my very favorite exit strategy. That's working with our borrower to get them to stay in the home. Generally, it will take anywhere between 6 and 12 months. Depending upon how long we season the note. That means we wait for the borrower, we work out a trial payment and let the borrower pay on time every time for a period of months. That's called seasoning the note. Generally, it's 6 to 12 months, and you can do anything, and you don't have to forgive all the debt, right? Value is in the eye of the beholder. So you can maybe entice your borrower to want to work with you because you're not expecting to get that $40,000 worth of debt that they're underwater. But you might be able to work with them and get some of it. You might just forgive 20,000 of it and bring it back down to $100,000 total amount due, right? So we work with our borrowers, and now we're creating a win-win situation where our borrower gets to stay in their home, and we're going to cash flow it without the headache of the tenants and the toilets, right? Because when you're the bank and the air conditioning breaks or the toilet floods or overflows, they don't call you. You're not the landlord, right? You are the bank. So you get the benefits of having that monthly cash flow. And I generally, when I work with my borrower, will put a trial payment in place before I go to a permanent loan modification. That's what this is, where they prove to me that they are able to pay the monthly payment. And oftentimes I will leverage the arrearage that they're underwater and say, I'll wipe this out, but you have to give me a deposit, right? A good faith deposit, $1,000, $2,000, whatever it is. That's a chunk of cash. And then during the trial payment plan, they're going to be paying, but all of that money is free money, everybody. Here's why. It goes to the old loan. So it doesn't get applied to the new balance that you negotiate with them, okay? It's free money. chunks of cash, streams of monthly cash flow. At the end of 6 months, we then convert it to a loan modification. The borrower gets to stay in their home. You're creating cash flow, and now you've created a win-win situation for everybody involved, right? Now you can hold on to that note, or you can sell it to a performing note investor at the end for a slight discount, and you would sell it at a slight discount of the $100,000, that new balance that you put in place, not what you paid for it. So you can create a big chunk of cash there as well. Okay. How important is due diligence? Due diligence is key to everything. Little funny here, right? Due diligence uncovers the things that don't seem right, or things that could hurt your invested dollars. It is key. Good due diligence will give you virtually risk-free note investing. In the workshop, we go over this ad nauseum, right? Those that are in the room with you right now, that have been there, they can tell you how much information there is and how much due diligence you do have to do. But again, it's very front-end loaded. You do it before you buy the note, and then you hand it off to your teams, okay? I like to say there's no such thing as a bad note, but there is such a thing as buying notes badly. And due diligence prevents you from buying notes badly, okay? All right, some case studies, a couple little quickies here because I know I'm running out of time. I have a few minutes left. All of these that you are about to see are from my actual portfolio, okay? These are all notes that I have done and worked out. This one, I'm going to give you details, real specific details, and then the next one is just some examples, some broad strokes. This is a borrower. The note came across my desk. It's in Richmond, Kentucky. The last paid to date on this was April 9th of 2012. Yes, everybody, there's still that inventory where people are squatting in their homes and they have not paid for many years, okay? Now, the current market value of this property, by the way, is about $150,000, okay? When I bought it, the current market value was much lower. So all in for this non-performing note at the time was $49,252. This particular house had been owner occupied since 1998. They'd been there 20 plus years. So I knew that they were going to want to reperform, okay? My due diligence showed me that they are going to want to stay in the home. Again, I wish we had time to talk about that. We don't, but I cover it all the time, you know, ad nauseum in the workshop in very thorough detail. Okay. Legal collectible balance, that's LCB. Legal collectible balance on this note was $95,000 and change. Their original interest rate was very high, 10.99%. The husband had a medical condition and couldn't work for 3 years, which is why they got behind. However, he healed and he was able to get another job and start paying. But at that point in time, they were so far behind and so underwater, and none of the banks would work with them. They didn't know what to do. And so they just didn't pay because they thought, well, we're probably going to have to move eventually, right? So our borrowers were contacted by our loss mitigation team. Remember, I said there's a team that you hand it off to do the heavy lifting. That one of those team members is loss mitigation. They contacted the borrowers, so I don't have direct communication with my borrowers, which is a good thing because everybody's got a story and I've got a very big heart, right? Plus, I'm not a licensed debt collector. So my loss mitigation team is in contact on my behalf with my borrower. Sure enough, they wanted to stay in their home. We put a trial payment plan in place for 6 months. They gave me $1,000 good faith deposit. It's the reinstatement fee. It's a nice little chunk of cash, right? $1,000. The borrower was successful in their trial payment plan for 6 months. So for 6 months, we figured out what their payment would be. We agreed that once they were successful in the trial payment plan, we would lower the amount of money due to us to $87,500. And in doing an amortization schedule, it showed that monthly payment as $608.40. Now this shows during the trial payment plan, there's a fee I have to pay to my loss mitigation. So they actually covered that fee during the 6 months, right? They paid $708.40 for that first 6 months, which covered my loss mitigation fee. And I cash flowed $4,248. Now, again, the $1,000 and that $4,248 is all applied to the old amount due, the $95,000 due. It's technically like free money, because once they were successful, we modified their loan to a new unpaid principal balance of $87,500. We lowered their interest rate to 8%, and we extended the life of their loan. So we put a brand new loan in place as of that day, right? Month 7, day 1. And their loan started for 480 months. That's 40 years, everybody. So if you add all that together, cash on cash return was 25.5%. And if you've ever looked at an amortization schedule of that $608.40 a month payment, approximately $580 of that is interest. Your profit is interest. That's pure profit, everybody. So we created a win-win situation. The borrower got to stay in their home. We created a chunk of cash and steady streams of monthly cash flow. Now, we could have turned around and sold this note to a performing note investor. I chose not to. I like cash flow. As you can tell, I'm the cash flow chick, right? So we actually still have this in our portfolio. All right. Last little tidbits here. You can see there's a variety of different assets here. We've got some in Memphis, Tennessee. The top couple we took to foreclosure auction. I'm just going to read a couple of these. Foreclosure auction, we invested $30,175. We sold it to third party at foreclosure auction, and we had a net profit of $27,861 in 5.5 months. That's a 92% return, and if you do a return on investment, which is usually a 12-month time frame, we were looking at 184% return on investment. Who likes investing in real estate the way I do it, right? Another one, Memphis, Tennessee, non-judicial foreclosure state. We took it to foreclosure auction, sold it to third party. We were into the note for $30,854. We sold it over that. We actually got a return. Our net profit was $35,362, which is 115% return on transaction in 6 months. And our ROI equates to 230%. Wooster, Ohio, judicial foreclosure state, invested $37,490. We sold it at foreclosure auction for $30,000, and our net profit was $30,510. 7 months it took us in a judicial foreclosure state. 81% return on transaction in 7 months. ROI equates to 115%, right? Richmond, Virginia. Here's one that we ended up with a foreclosure. We ended up as an REO, so we did not sell it at foreclosure auction. We invested $27,000 and change. It returned. Our net profit was $13,897. 6 months it took us. Our return on a transaction in 6 months, 51%. ROI was 102% at the end of, if you calculate that cash on cash, or ROI, sorry, not cash on cash. Last one, Stanley, North Carolina, same thing. We took it to foreclosure. It came back to us as REO. We actually had to rehab this one. Our investment dollars, including the rehab, was $58,000 and change. Our return was $21,000 and change, meaning our net profit. Took us 12 months, 36% return on transaction. Our ROI, I'm sorry, I mistake, is also 36, same thing, right? And then one last one, sorry, let me find it. Birmingham, Alabama. This is a contract for deed. I don't have time to explain that, but that's another type of note that you can buy. Ended up as REO with us. In 3 months, it became an REO. We turned around and we sold that property. Our investment dollars into it was $37,500. Our net profit was $36,000 in 3 months. Our return was 96%. If you calculate that to a 12-month ROI, we're looking at 384% return in real estate and real estate investing in notes. So here's how you connect with me. If you want to connect with me, these are the several different ways to do it. You can go to buildingwealthwithnotes.com. You can connect with me via email, info@cashflowchick.com. If you go to my website, cashflowchick.com, you can schedule a free 30-minute call with me. I'm happy to sit down and talk with you about it. Follow me on all the different social media platforms as well. I think I'm out of time.
So, the applause for Paige.
I'm sorry?
I said round of applause for Paige.
Oh, thank you.
And does anybody have questions for Paige? 1 second. We have some in the room, Paige.
Okay.
Hey there, Paige. You said something about you go to conferences about with asset managers. Where
Yeah.
exactly are these conferences? How do you get information on them?
Yeah, they're all over the place. There are a couple. There's one that is coming up. Well, there are a couple that are out of state. So there's some in Texas. There's some in California. There are some that do them virtually online. One of my favorites is called the Paper Source Symposium. It's perfect for new investors. There's no selling from the stage. It's just for new investors, period, by investors. So I often will speak at that conference. And there's asset managers that are there. There are other note investors that are there. So they're all over the country. And then there are also subgroups of certain RIA meetings that have note investors as well. So and asset managers. Again, we talk about it at the workshop. It's where to find them. I wish I had more time to go into everything, but that's they're everywhere.
Is there anything listed on a computer that would say, this is what we have in this state, this is what we have in this state, this is the dates it's going on?
Yeah,
What would I type in?
I would just type in note investing conferences or symposiums, and I'm sure that they will pop up.
All right, Scott. It should be on. It's green. You might have turned it off. Here you go.
We're set. We got it. Thank you. You mentioned a list of teams, and you specifically said you're debt collectors. What other teams would you need to incorporate, and are they all like taking a percentage and then you pass it on to your
Tommy.
the homeowners or
The borrower? Okay, so great question. Thank you so much. Okay, so we have two sets of licensed debt collectors that act on our behalf. One of them is a servicing company. The other is loss mitigation. Both of those liaise on your behalf with your borrower, okay? So they're the ones that have the licensing, and they talk to the borrower on your behalf. You are going to not pay them a percentage. You're just going to pay them a very nominal flat fee per asset per month, and they will handle all the heavy lifting for you. Now, other team members that become part of your team are people like property preservation, realtors become part of your team, escrow companies become part of your team, O&E reports. So there's title companies that provide specific pieces of due diligence for us that are part of your external team, and you just pay them their flat fee. It's not a percentage, so you don't have to incorporate that into your purchase price. That's kind of part of what I consider the workout costs.
all right. And if we do you recommend certain companies, and if we take your class, are those available to your students?
Yes. Yes and yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Juan, did you have a question, or Dave? Someone over here? No?
Hey, Paige. Can you
Yes?
at least let her see me?
Yeah, I can't see anything. I'm just looking at myself.
Is that better?
I'm still only seeing the everybody in the audience. That's nice to see.
You didn't see me in the back right here?
There
Yes.
you are.
Here, wait, I'll get closer so you can see me. Hold on. I think
There
this is the
we
right one.
go.
Here it is. I wanted to say hi. I haven't seen you in forever. You know,
I know. I'm so
the
thrilled
stupid
to be
government
here.
overreach
Thank you.
crap makes it so I can't come out to California to see you, and makes it so you can't
I
come
know.
here and do a live show.
I know, and thank you. I am so honored that you asked me to participate in this weekend, and you know I would have been there were it not for all of, like you said, the overreaching government mandates and
Well, you
crap
got
that's going
Governor
on.
you got
My
Governor
friend.
Gruesome. That's even worse.
Yeah. Yes. Gruesome Newsome.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, I just wanted to thank you. I wanted to say hi, and we're going to move on, but I'm going to talk to you in the next couple of days. And I heard some of the students that last time actually did your class, I hear some of them are actually pretty successful at the moment.
Yes.
Like this one over here.
Yes. Yeah, and anybody, if you have any questions, there are some of you in the room that have taken the workshop, Larry included. Larry's been to my workshop. And it's, you know, if you have any questions about me, ask them, ask me. I'm an open book, everybody. And I, like Larry and his team, I'm really passionate about your success and helping you to get break free of all the chains. You know, I've had life happen to me, and I know how hard that is, and I'm all for helping people to not only have second chances, but just break free of the chain and be so successful and create the life that they want.
All right, real quick, put your screen up that has your contact information, because we're way over time. So put your
Yep,
screen up real
yep.
quick so everybody can see it again,
There it
and
is.
tell everybody that they can get a hold of you,
Yes.
in case people can't read.
Yes. Okay. So in case people can't read, so buildingwealthwithnotes.com. You can also reach me at cashflowchick.com. There's a little button there to schedule a call. If you want free stuff, cashflowchick.com/info. That will give you a bunch of other information for free. And then, of course, all the social media. Instagram is at the Cashflowchick. Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, it's all Cashflowchick. And then, of course, my name, Paige Panzarello, Panzarello, the Cashflowchick.
Much, Paige.
Oh, thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. And thank you for the time. I hope you found it fun and exciting, because it's a great way to invest. So thank you.
All right, can we hit the spotlights and the main stage lights for a...
I'm a clapper.
Okay, moving on. We have a brokerage in this building. So if you are an agent, we welcome you to come to our next agent training. I'm going to put this right here. Our next agent training is October 19th, right here in this building at 1 p.m. If you are an agent with a student, we welcome you to hang your license with us. We offer 100% commission. As most of you know, we are live on the air. We are still live on the air this Saturday, even though there is an event. They're just going to sneak over and then sneak back over here. Good thing we have that tunnel, right? Also, as I mentioned the event again, you have one last chance to register. It's yourpieceofthegoodlife.com. You can use the promo code Thursday or Monday to waive a half cost. Okay, so they're on the radio this Saturday at 2 p.m., 12:10, or if you're Facebook friends with Investor School and Phil Falcone or Larry Steinhaus, you could actually watch them live in the studio there as well. PropStream. This is something extremely useful for our real estate investors. You can get a 7-day free trial. Just go to PropStream7daysfree.com. Our next speaker is Phil Falcone. Phil owns the first tiny house park in Florida. Someone is really excited to hear Phil. I hear them grunting and groaning. This is awesome. He's negotiated millions of dollars in private and creative funding for real estate. He owns a successful vacation rental business. Phil is a published author of 3 books on real estate. He's become an experienced stock option trader and tripled his stock options count in 1 year. Phil loves aloe, but he loves real estate. Please help me welcome up Phil Falcone. And we deserve to hear you, Phil. Turn your mic on.
Give me that crap. Turn my mic on. This thing goes out every minute and a half.
Is it green?
Yeah. New mic, please. Yeah, Mr. Microphone. I love it. Hi. Apparently not.
Phil has decided that we deserve it.
Hello? I deserve it. You guys deserve it. Just for being here tonight. And if you're coming to the 3-day event, you really deserve it. By the way, I'm a Republican.
Round of applause for Phil Falcone. You got your hands full now.
Yeah, really.
All right, I'll put it here for you. Take the mic.
Yeah, leave me one of them. I used to have a Mr. Microphone when I was a kid. Hooked it up to some speakers in my car, pointed my speakers outside the windows, and I would drive around and go, "Hey, buddy, get the hell out of my way!" You know, it was in my 20s. It was pretty obnoxious. Yeah, can you believe I had that trait? All right, let's talk about some real estate. Not going to work for me. So might as well ditch it. Mr. Microphone and I are good friends, though. So I'm going to skip the disclaimer because I'm just a crazy guy. Let's move on. If any of you sue me, I can afford it. All right, tonight I want to talk about one of my favorite ways to sell a house. So I often talk about owner financing, seller financing, and that is my favorite way to buy houses. I just love buying houses at 0% interest. And if you understand that concept, sometimes you can do it where you put some money down and then you get 0% financing for the house for years. I don't have time to explain that right now, but I'm going to talk to you about ways that I love to sell houses that can be very, very lucrative for you, okay? So the way that I learned how to do it, about 20 years ago, I knew a guy who was doing silent auctions to sell houses. And I basically called him up and I said, "How do I do it?" And he goes, heck, give me $500, I'll do it for you, and you'll learn the whole process. I said, cool. So he came over, and I let him basically run the whole process. And I was not able to sell the house in that particular silent auction, but I learned the process nonetheless. And it's a great way to sell properties, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. Okay, so let's go through some of these slides quickly, and I'm going to get down to the real nitty-gritty stuff about how you negotiate it when you've got somebody who wants to buy your house, okay? So the first thing I would do is I'd write up a very simple letter, like a handwritten letter, and I'd say, "Hey, I'm having an auction on my house on so-and-so date," and I'd just go to a Xerox machine and I'd print up a couple hundred of these things, and I'd drive around the neighborhood a day or two before and just stick them under people. You can't put things in people's mailboxes. I hope you know that. But there's still plenty of places you can put them. If they have a welcome mat, you pick up the welcome mat, you leave the letter sticking out, and don't make it white if you can. Like I usually use a pink one, which makes me feel special, or a blue one, which makes me feel very manly. And it doesn't matter. Just use some other color. They make notepads in all different colors, and they can be very effective. And just, if you've got nice handwriting, just handwrite it. Take your time, write the first one, and then just go make a bunch of copies of it. There's even people on the internet, you can just email them a handwritten letter that you've made, and they'll send you back a box of 5,000 if that's what you wanted. Okay? So invite all the neighbors. Why would you invite the neighbors? Why is that so important? Because lots of mothers and fathers have a daughter that they'd love to live down the block from them, or a son that they would love to move to another neighborhood, things like that. So you want to let families know that this house is coming up for an auction, and then what's going to happen is the parents are going to show up, and hopefully the kid's going to show up with them, right? You're going to make signs in this business. I make a lot of, definitely for this kind of operation, what I'm talking about, a silent auction, I would suggest you go and buy a big fat big fat black marker, get a bunch of, banded signs and write on the blank side of it, and just write things like no bank needed, owner financing available, bad credit is acceptable. That's right. That's what you're going to advertise, okay? You're going to invite your friends, you're going to invite your family, you're going to invite investor schooling, you're going to ask them to show up, because the more people that can show up at your silent auction, it's going to create euphoria. And people, especially if it's on a major road where people are going to see it, right? If it's on a side street, it's not quite as effective, but it still can be pretty effective for the neighborhood, right? You can put a blast on Facebook and any kind of social media. And basically, you want to scream to the world that you're having a silent auction, which isn't going to be that silent. All right? Owner financing, no banks needed. People hate banks. That's a very effective sign. Owner finance. It's so much easier, like 100% easier, to talk to an individual about financing your deal rather than it is to talk to a banker. Okay. So I make handwritten signs that say all these different things. No banks needed, owner financing available, bad credit is acceptable. But you also have to remember that if you're in a development that has an HOA, they will probably be ripping down those signs as fast as you can put them up. So if the development is an HOA, I still would do it, but don't even put the signs out until the day of the sale, right? Because somebody's going to run around and rip them. Some of those people are crazy, man. These HOA people, these condos people, they're like in it for the power. They don't make any money. They work like crazy, but boy, do they love their power. So the signs go everywhere. You just put them everywhere. Litter the place with signs and banners and anything you can put up, because this is a game of over signage. Is what people do in this business. Okay, so what do you want to do with the home? You just want to, prepare the home for the big day. Clean it up, put a bunch of balloons outside, put a big giant yellow banner like this one, agent inside. Who cares if there's no real estate agent there? It doesn't matter. You're going to be the one who's controlling the silent auction, and I'm going to get into that soon. Bake cookies. Bake cookies. Who doesn't love cookies? Is there anybody in here that doesn't love cookies? If there is anybody, I want you to get the hell out of here. All right? People who don't like cookies shouldn't even know this info. All right. Crazy signs in the front lawn. Put them all over the property so ridiculously that everyone who drives by will have no doubt in the world which house is being auctioned off today, all right? Put some music on, put the TVs on, open the windows, get some light in the house, all right? I've been to people's houses all the time. I did nothing for 2 years except go to people's houses, and I would go there, all the blinds are closed, TV's off, the house is dark as hell. I'm like, what are you guys doing? When you're trying to promote a house, open up the blinds. Let some fresh air in if you can. Let the sun come in. It's okay. You're not going to burn to death. All right? Invite people to tour the home. Just let them know. Just go. Anything you want to know, I'll tell you. Just walk through the house. Anything that you can think of to pump up the volume on a silent auction. All right? This is not rocket science here. It's just work it. If you've got a wife who can come and decorate the place and make it look cool and, bake the cookies and talk to everybody. This is just make the people feel good. Make them hang around for a while. All right. These are just an example of a couple of signs that work really good. For sale by owner, owner finance, no banks. Always hammer on the no banks. People hate banks. Anybody here love banks? Okay, so I was going to throw you guys out too, but yeah, you're allowed to stay now because nobody hates them. All right? Just, you could do postcards if you've got a nice marketing budget and you want to let a whole lot more people than just the neighbors know about it, just your family and your friends and your neighbors. If you really want to pump this thing up, go out and buy 5,000 postcards and write the address on it, show a picture of the house, and do it the right way. Spend some money on it, okay? Postcards are going to cost you some money, but it might really, really pay off for you. This is a jar where you save your money for the house, okay? Because you're going to need some money. I said it was a silent auction. It's not a free house, though. Okay. This is a picture of just people putting out the freshly baked cookies and telling you everything about the house. It's great schools, right? It's got a brand new AC. It's got a high definition stereo system built into the house. You need to accentuate everything good about the house. This is another example of a postcard that you could use just to drive people to a house. This is simple marketing stuff. Get the people there. Get the euphoria going at your silent auction. Okay? This is one I did for Halloween. I hired these actors are starving. They never make any money. So I hired these actors to lay in a pool of blood outside the house. It really didn't work like I thought it would. I thought it would really get a lot of attention, but people were throwing up and everything else. It was really nasty. So what kind of people would show up when they see a sign? You're not going to put on a sign that's a silent auction, but when people see no banks needed, what kind of people are going to show up? Exactly. Okay? So what are the 3 things that you typically need to buy a house? You need a job. That helps. You need some cash, right? And you need credit. Well, when people apply to or rush to go to an auction for a house that is advertising no banks needed, owner financing, right? It's 100% chance that the missing link that these people have is the credit. It's always the credit, right? So what I typically will say to them, well, I'll get into that in a minute, all right? So obviously we know that it's going to be the credit. It almost always is. But the people who don't have a job and have bad credit, or the people who don't have any cash and have bad credit, we can't really do anything with them. All right? This is a game of getting someone to pay us. So they're going to pay us in exchange for an option. We're going to sell them an option to buy this house. They don't know that at this point. They're just at the silent auction. They're touring the house. And if I'm running the auction, I'm just going to hang around the house, invite everybody to go through, do whatever you want, eat some more cookies, save a couple for me, right? And when you stand by the door, and when the people are ready to leave the auction, just ask them, are you interested in bidding on this property? If you are, all I need is your name. This is a silent auction. I just need your name and your phone number. Thank you very much. I don't want to know anything more than that. I don't want to talk to them. I don't want to try. Your people will do this to you. They'll go, oh, Phil, let's go out in the garage. I got to talk to you. I'm like, dude, I will call you in a couple of hours. Okay? There's not that many people here, whatever. Relax. You're going to get your opportunity to buy this house if you want to buy it. So you're just getting their name and their phone number. That's all you're doing. You're not asking them any other questions, all right? Once the house clears out, okay, I'm going to call each person who was interested. Sometimes you're only going to get 6 names. Who cares? There could be somebody on there with $50,000, $80,000, $120,000. Maybe one of their relatives just passed away and left them a bunch of money, and they decided that with that money, they're going to buy the first house they've ever lived in. If that's the case, you're going to be able to help them out tremendously, all right? So, of course, they have to have the job, and because they got to make rental payments to you, and they have to have cash to pay you in order to make this deal work. So let's talk about it. This is a very common sign that you'll see at auctions, you know, for sale, no banks needed, come fix me up. That's right. So even if the house needs work, you can lower the price of the house to accommodate for whatever work it needs. Say it needs a kitchen and maybe it's got some other problems that it needs. You could reduce the price of the house and maybe these people will fix up your house. My experience, that almost hardly ever pans out the way you want it to, but it's worth a try, okay? So I'm in the house. I'm running this silent auction, all right? I'm inviting everyone to tour the house as much as they want, okay? I'm keeping this pad, and anyone that wants to come up and talk to me, they can come talk to me. They can ask me questions about the house. I'm not going to get into their financial situation at all. I'm just going to say, listen, I'll call you later on tonight. Just give me your name and number. Just write your name and number on this piece of paper, all right? After everyone has left, I'll just tell them, I'll call you tonight. I'm interested in making this thing happen as quickly as possible, so I don't want to waste time. The only thing I would say you want to establish up front is what the rental price is. And I would tell you that your rental price should be inflated. And the reason is because these people have bad credit. The chances of them missing payments, being late on payments, it's very possible. So, you know, does that logic make sense? If we know that they're going to struggle to make the payments, I'm saying inflate the rental price, okay? Okay, there's a couple different ways to think about it. I've had private lenders do this to me. They said, you're borrowing an awful lot of money, Phil. I'm going to have to raise the rates to protect myself. And I'm thinking, well, if you want me to make the payments, maybe you should lower the payments, because then you have a much better chance of getting paid every month. But, okay. Look, I understand the philosophy. That's just the way it is, all right? So you're going to, you could let them know what the rental price is. You should probably just have that number decided what that is. Maybe, let's just say for the sake of argument, it's going to be $2,000 a month for this house, all right? When I call the people at nighttime, I can run their credit report, and I will. Okay, especially if I think that they're going to win the auction. What gets you to win the auction? A person who's going to give me the highest NROC. NROC stands for a non-refundable option consideration. So if someone says to me, hey Phil, I'll give you $80,000 for that option. Okay, what he's doing is he's giving me 80 grand in cash. He's not going to give it to me in a suitcase, okay? We're going to have a settlement, and he's going to give it to me, all right? But he's going to give me $80,000 in cash in exchange for an option agreement. The option agreement, him and I will sit down with his wife, whoever else is decision maker, we'll sit down after the phone call. We'll have a conversation about what's a fair sales price for the house. It's going to be an inflated sales price. It's going to be an inflated rental price. But for the $80,000 that he pays me, I'm probably going to give him 3 years to allow him to rent a property for 3 years, okay? And in exchange for the 3 years, I'm going to hook him up with credit repair specialists to help them get their act together so they can actually get qualified for a mortgage by the end of the 3rd year. Now, understand something. That if they fix their own credit all on their own, which some people do, they could buy the house 3 months, 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, a year later. They don't have to wait 3 years. But I'm giving them 3 years just because I want them to succeed. I want them to actually buy the house. However, if something goes wrong in this process and they don't buy the house, I am protected because NROC stands for non-refundable option consideration. I've sold them an option. They have an option to buy this property. Now, they could take the option and sell it to somebody else. Say Bill was the person who gave me the $80,000, but something changes in his life. His job gets relocated to Texas. I was going to say California, but that would never happen. So it's got to be Texas, right? Right? And then Eric decides, he calls me up and says, hey, Phil, whoever bought that house? And I said, actually, Bill won the silent auction, but I think he's looking to get out of that option because his his career has changed and he's got to move to Texas and he can't live in this house anymore. Now, he could still use it as a rental property, right? However, he decides he wants to sell his option to Eric. I could put Eric and Bill together and the house will still get sold, okay? However, what happens a lot of times in these kind of deals is people can't project what's going to happen in their life 3 years down the road. And maybe things don't work out, or they're going to get a divorce, or he loses his job, and all these other things happen. And guess what happens? They end up not exercising the option. If the person who wins the silent auction does not exercise the option, guess what you can do? You keep the NROC. Guess what else? You get the house back. Guess what you can do next? Do it again. Have another silent auction. Okay? What happens when you do these things? I mean, people are going to offer you 10 grand and 20 grand because maybe that's all they have. But I'm looking for somebody who can make it worth my while. So imagine, let's just say this is, in my mind, this is a $275,000 townhome, which is what we call row homes in the suburbs. Townhomes. It sounds so much classier, doesn't it? Yeah, not really to me. Row homes, townhomes, who cares, right? They're homes. They're real estate. Wonderful asset to put your money in. Wonderful things to own. Will reward you over and over and over again. I love my real estate. Okay? So, in this townhome, if a guy puts $80,000 down, I mean, I'm in great shape. Okay? That's 40 months of rental payments. He's still got to pay the rental payments. He's still got to exercise his option. If he doesn't get his act together and buy this house, I get the house back and I get to keep the money. So I'm in a very strong position. Now, typically, the way you do this is you have an option agreement, which is exchanged for the money that he has. In this case, Bill's giving me 80 grand. I'm giving Bill an option agreement. Bill now has a legal right to buy my house. I cannot sell my house. Think about that now. I've sold the right for me to sell this house. Bill now controls it unless his time of 3 years runs out and he didn't exercise it. Then he loses his option. Okay? So you typically do two separate documents. You do an option, which sounds complicated because you probably never did one. But let me tell you something. It's a very simple document. It's 3 or 4 pages. You sign it. You get it notarized. You're done. He pays you the money. It's really not that complex. Then you have another agreement, which is a lease. It's just a standard lease agreement that any tenant would have. You separate the two. Okay? The reason you separate the two is so you're only going to have these two documents. An option agreement, which was exchanged for money, and then a lease. The reason that you do the lease separately is because, first of all, my lawyer has advised me to do that. But the other reason is because suppose you really like the guy who's living in here. He gave me 80 grand. He really takes care of the property. He's very responsive. He fixes things himself. He makes improvements to this property. I really like Bill. I don't want to just kick him out so I can go try to get another 80 grand or 50 grand or 30 grand or whatever amount of money is presented to me. I might want to keep Bill around because he makes my property better, okay? And the neighbors like him and I like him, okay? That might be a really good reason to keep him around. He still has a lease with me. I might call Bill and go have a meeting with him and I'll say, Bill, tell me why you didn't exercise the option. And maybe there's some things that I could help him with. I could advise him. I could hook him up with somebody who could maybe help him, like a Sue Meitner, for example, right? I can hook him up with like a killer mortgage person who gets shit done, all right? Like Sue. And I say, you're working with the wrong people, Bill. Maybe I can introduce you to somebody who can help you. And if I help him get the house, he's paying an inflated price. and an inflated rent. So I'm not getting hurt in this scenario at all. I've already been paid $80,000, plus he still would have to get his credit together and get a mortgage from somebody like Sue, and then I get paid off handsomely. So either way, I don't lose. That's what I like about these kind of deals, is because no matter what happens, if he exercises it, I'm cool. If he doesn't exercise it, I'm cool. It doesn't matter, right? This is a really interesting way to get someone to give you chunky money. If you've never heard me talk about it, chunky money is anything over $10,000 to me. I just love getting chunky money checks, okay? Anything with 5 digits in it, it just warms my heart. Makes me feel wonderful, right? That's my job. My job is to get chunky money checks. I mean, I get lots of people paying me rent, but the chunky money checks, they make me feel pretty good. This is just an example of what I might do with some signs, okay? Just go buy a bunch of signs and just stick them everywhere, so much so that it's just obnoxious, all right? It drives people crazy. So the people who are interested at this auction, they know how much the rent is, okay? You're going to call them after the silent auction. You're going to try to get as much as you can on the NROC. You're going to tell them what the rent payments are. If someone gives you $100K, I mean, you're going to be feeling pretty awesome. And that happens sometimes. You know, it depends on the quality of the people who come to look at your house. It depends on the quality of your house and how much people really want it. Obviously, if you make the house awesome looking and you do a great job on it, you're going to get more money, you're going to get more attraction, and you're probably going to really succeed at this. But that's not always an option for the landlord in every situation, all right? But the better you make the house. So a lot of times people say to me, Phil, what's the minimum NROC you would accept? That's very easy for me. So if the rent was $2,000 a month, all right, I know I can get $6,000 from anyone who walks in off the street. Because I'm going to say, first month's rent, last month's rent, 1 month's security, I can get $6,000 from almost anybody, right? So my minimum NROC is 3 times whatever I could get from a renter. So I'm saying the minimum I would take to sell an option to somebody is $18,000. That would be the minimum. All right? If the rent was $3,000, it would just be higher. Just do the math. Super simple. That's the benchmark that I use. I would not sell somebody the rights to my house. And if all they had was $18,000, I mean, really at that point, I don't know if I even want to do it. You know? But the thing about a silent auction is if you've got an empty house and you're not collecting rent and you're going to try this strategy, the benefit of this strategy is to get a big, fat, chunky money check. All right? It's not going to cost you that much to do it. If you've already fixed up the house and it's good enough to be rented to people, then there's no reason why you can't do a silent auction first and see. You can handwrite the signs and go and put them all around the neighborhood all by yourself, right? You could send out some postcards if you've got a couple extra grand. You give it a try because you might get $80,000 off of somebody, and sure enough, it's going to pay for the 3 hours you spent at this silent auction. And you're going to be a happy guy, and you're going to be in a really strong position as a landlord. But if it doesn't work, what are you really out? A few hours of your time. You tried a strategy, all right? And this is something that I am going to be challenging myself to do on every property in my portfolio that becomes vacant, all right? I am kind of on this kick right now to buy more real estate, not to sell real estate. But I just love my chunky money, so I still might need to, all right? So what else do we got? Any questions anybody wants to ask? Where do you set the purchase price? So Bill's question is, where do you set the purchase price? I would run comps. I would figure out what I think it is. And I'm going to obviously increase it 15, 20%. Because I know you're a guy who doesn't have good credit. And you can't go anywhere else. Even if you find, whatever house you find in this market, you know the price is going to be inflated anyway, right? And you still got to get a loan for it. So I'm going to inflate the sales price. I'll leave it up to you to decide how much you want to raise it.
Okay, so does the down payment money, does that offset the purchase price? So if they give you 100,000 and the purchase price was 275, they only owe 175 if they exercise the option?
Okay, so yes, in this example, the 80,000, when someone gives you $80,000, is most likely going to do it in a cashier's check or a bank check, okay? You take photographs of that check. It's very important that you track that check. What bank did it come from? Take a picture of the check, deposit it in your personal account. This is a very important part of the transaction, because 2 years down the road, when he gets his credit fixed, you're going to go to a mortgage person, and mortgage person needs to know that that 80,000 was actually paid to me. They need to see it leave your bank and go into my bank. Very important, okay? You have to prove that you paid the 80,000. That 80,000 covers more than enough of the 20% down that the banker's probably going to ask you for, right? So if you're the buyer, it's very important to you to make sure that you keep track of that stuff. And if I was the landlord, I already know it's very important, because you're going to actually go to a bank maybe 3 years after you gave me that check, and they need to know that it actually came to me. Okay? Now, once that check is in my bank, I can do whatever I want with it. I don't have to put it in an escrow account. I don't have to send it to a title company. I can put it in my pocket and go have a crazy month in Vegas if I want. All right? Which is probably what some of you would do.
Does the rent paid go towards their?
It could if the buyer negotiated part of his rent. So what I typically would do, if the rent was going to be $2,000 a month, I might say, anything you pay me above $2,000 a month, I'll match it. That is something you could do. Your cash flow will be awesome, okay? And you've already inflated the price and the rent, so you're kind of covered in that area. So when it comes to that kind of thing, sometimes sellers or buyers will ask you that. They'll say, how much of my rent is going to go towards paying down the house? And I'll say, I'll do that kind of deal with you, but I want you to pay it consistently. Meaning, like, if they said, I'll give you $2,200 a month instead of $2,000, I'd say, fine, I'll match the $200 you're putting up. But what I don't want is them to be paying different figures every single month, because it becomes like an accounting thing for me. Not that I couldn't add up the extra money, but then you get into some argument with them about how much they said they paid you and how much you actually collected. So if you're going to do that kind of thing, make sure you have an ironclad way to document all of it, because that kind of thing happens all the time. I used to go around and do wholesale deals and short sales with people, and I can't even tell you, like, half of the people I met who I was trying to do short sales with, people who were behind in their loans, almost every one of them would tell me that the accounting done by the bank screwed them, especially if it was Wells Fargo. Right. They're like evil. They really are. I mean, any other questions, anybody?
So I remember how you mentioned NROC for those who is basically can tailor to those who have bad credit. I would just kind of wonder, what if somebody, like you said, in that situation that has $80,000 and gives a good down payment but has good credit, would there be anything different? Or
if they have good credit and they have a job and they have cash, they don't need to do this kind of thing. They could walk into a bank and probably get a loan. So that's why I'm just telling you from my experience. I know that the people who go to these things, who flock to these kind of things, that's usually the kind of people that they are. They're good people. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them. They just got bad credit. Something happened to them. Many times it's a great story, like Paige's story. The guy got sick. What's he going to do? He couldn't work anymore. He couldn't work for a couple of years. All right? If that story is true, it's a good story. You know? It's a good story. Yeah, you know. You never really know. You can't look through into somebody's heart and figure out if they're lying, but it's just life. So This is a great way to sell your house. It's hardly any risk to you. You're going to spend very little money or a couple $1,000s. You might get a huge payoff for it. And worst comes to worst, you just gain the experience. You know how to do it. The more euphoria you could create about any house, the chances of you getting paid is much better. So I suggest that, including to myself, that we all do more of these, because a lot of people don't want to do it because it's a little bit more hard work, but it's not that hard. It's something you can accomplish in a couple of days, all right? And then you can decide. You could maybe do it again. You could run another one the very next week if you want to. So this is a very easy, inexpensive way to get some large, chunky money put in your pocket. And that's what I'm trying to do. Make all of you guys rich.
Round of applause for Phil Falcone. Thank you, Phil. Okay, just one final reminder. Everybody is invited to the event this weekend, yourpieceofthegoodlife.com. Use the coupon code Thursday or Monday. It's going to be a phenomenal event. Also, Julian and John, you're invited to the Monday Night Mastermind. It's a different format. We're going to help you move forward faster in your goals. For those of you online, I will be calling you tomorrow. If you do not hear from me tomorrow, because we have the 3-day event, you will hear from me by the end of the weekend. And you're also invited back to the Monday Night Mastermind, and I will also give you an opportunity to learn more about the school as well. Without further ado, let's welcome up the Stock Option Sultan.
Yeah. Oh, come on, where's the button? Where's the music? I don't hear anything glowing. Stock Option Sultan. Stock Option. Somebody sing it for me, please. There it is. Yeah. Woo. Yeah. Oh. You know, that sounds like me being tired tonight, doesn't it? It sounds just like. Look at this guy. Wait, come here. Check this guy out. I'm gonna sit down with him because he just seems like he just doesn't want to be bothered. Oh, I dropped my mic. You know, he got really close to me. Does it seem a little weird? All right, cool. All right, you guys ready?
All right.
You guys psyched? Oh yeah. What's the matter with you? You've been here week after week. You've never seen this before. Man. Jeez. Did you come here for stock options? Yeah. You were pretty bored for the last 2 hours, weren't you? That feels really good. I'm going to try that again. All right, cool. You guys ready? All right. We have a little bit of technical difficulties. Let's see if we get the stock option. Let's see if we get these, do whatever. Bring it over. All right, there it is. So, look at that. The Dow futures, how excited. They're up a whole $5. 5 points, I mean, right? Ooh, the NASDAQ is getting killed. Anybody know why? No. Anybody see what happened today? It's with Snap. Yeah. Oh. Were you in it? All right, well, I'm sorry to hear that. But tomorrow is going to be a really good day for Facebook. Put up Facebook. And I'm hoping it's down more than it was earlier.
Well,
I know.
I was just going to say, you've been predicting Snap is overpriced.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've been predicting Snap being overpriced for 2 months now.
Yeah, maybe longer than that.
Yeah, exactly. And it
finally crashed today.
Yeah, and it finally came back to normal. But it's bringing Facebook down with it, which I love. Because tomorrow, I'm telling you, if it stays in the 320s tomorrow when you wake up, at 9:30, click an option, click a contract. That if you want to go out to February, it would be smart. But if you have a little bit of money and you want to take just a little bit of risk outside the rule, then you're going to go to next week. And it's going to be fantastic. Because you're going to see, just like November 2nd, 4th, something like that, whatever the option is. I don't know what number it is. What day? What's the Friday? What's next Friday? 29th. What's the one after that? The 5th? 4th, 5th?
Friday
Yeah.
the 13th.
Whatever that is, the 5th to the 12th, go out to, and it's an easy, no-brainer play. But you got to get out the day before earnings, which I think earnings is 27th or 28th. Anybody remember? Monday. So yeah, so you got. Oh, is it Monday? Yeah. No, earnings aren't never on a Monday. No. Oh man, they changed it. I thought it was the 27th, wasn't it? Yeah, they changed it. Oh, that stinks. All right, well, can they do that? They can do whatever they want. You know, you know, the stock market is like the government. That's for all those Republicans that came in here. I thought that was the funniest thing. I'm a Republican. I'm a Republican. Really? That's pretty funny. Anybody in here a Democrat? Pedro. Just because your name is Pedro doesn't mean you're a Democrat. You're here legally, man. Can't believe we just said that over Facebook, too.
How do you know?
Pedro is definitely the butt of a lot of jokes.
I'm gonna make sure you look really bad.
Well, you're gonna superimpose your face on mine? Are we gonna keep going? You know, we can keep this banner going all night. Anybody got a stock they want me to look at besides? What is it? IBM?
IBM.
So IBM just had earnings yesterday, right, or today? Is that what happened? So there's really nothing you can do because you just had the earnings. There's nothing you can do. Oh, somebody typed it for me. All right, okay. Yeah, can I put it in for me, Pedro? Oh, this is great. Oh, did you see the headline? There's nothing better. CDC approves Moderna and J&J COVID vaccine boosters, allowing people to mix and match shots. Look, okay. If you weren't scared of the vaccine before that headline, you're a moron now. What? Really? Allowing people to mix and match shots? Anybody ever mix wine with scotch? Right? What happens to you the next morning? Yeah. And these guys are going to say, really? Okay, anyway.
KDP. KDP.
So IBM is done. There's nothing you can do with it. It had bad earnings yesterday. You got to wait for it. What is it,
DP.
As long as he heard, it doesn't matter. Dr. Pepper. Keurig, Dr. Pepper. I didn't know Keurig and Dr. Pepper merged. Wow, I had no idea.
I was looking at maybe.
Because you were looking at Pepsi a while back.
No, I was looking at Canada Dry. Oh yeah, I was looking at Pepsi, but I was thinking like 33.5. What do you think of that?
So my only problem with this is it's not moving much. Is it a dividend-paying stock? Yeah, I thought so. So this is probably a good covered call stock. At this price, I'd buy the stock, sell the covered calls, make a couple of bucks week after week after week, and then when you need the money to go buy something that you think is going to go up. By the way, all right, I told you this before. Mid-November is going to be the next drop. Now, whether it's going to be 1,000 point or 2,000 or 2,500 point, I don't know. But whatever, here, you guys want to write it down? Write it down. The stock market is now at 35,500, right? Just write it down. Somebody write it down so you could say, hey, he was right. We're going to be in the low 3,400s mid-November, around the 15th, 16th, or 17th. Remind me, because I've already forgotten. Mid-November, 13th, 14th, 15th, something like that.
Yeah, the low 34,000.
Yeah, low 34,000. So in other words, about a 1,500 point swing from here. That doesn't mean anything. That's actually a good thing for us sometimes. But that's just so you know, because that's my prediction based on what's going to come in November. Anybody know all the events that are going to happen in November that are going to cause the stock market to go down?
Election.
What? What was that? They're going to run out of turkeys? Well, that's certainly possible. Yeah, they're all the turkeys are on the ships from China that died of coronavirus that they didn't need to shoot, so they didn't even have bullet holes in them. Okay. I tested this turkey with the vaccine.
Let's get back on track.
Julian has a question.
What? What do you think this is, huh? Do you think this is interaction? No, guy, what's your question? I'm teasing.
Hello.
That's because you hand the people a microphone, they push the buttons anyway.
No, it's green.
Here, take the phone.
Could you just check? Are you into crypto by any chance? or
Yeah,
no?
I'm
really
into crypto. Yeah.
You know that Bitcoin just broke its peak, I think, recently.
Yeah, that was yesterday. Where were you?
Yeah, I don't know. Can you just check it for me though, really quick?
That's the right answer.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
will, just for you.
Sorry.
Just because you didn't know it broke yesterday. That it went
Yeah.
over 66,000
I
yesterday.
just found out today. I was like, oh shit.
So how much crypto do you have?
I like maybe a couple hundred.
You have a couple $100?
Not too much, yeah. Cause like I like to play with it. I'm not like, I mean I want to start doing it long term though, but I just want to buy at the right times.
You
You
like
know what I
losing
mean?
money, huh?
No, no, I
I'm gonna
don't.
teach you how not to lose money.
Yeah.
John's going. John behind you's going. He's going. Dude, you better shut up quick because if you don't shut up, he's gonna make more fun of you. You should see his face. That's what his face said. Okay. Right, Eli? Hey, wait, just by the way, back here we have stars back here. You guys don't even know. We have Eli and Cindy sitting back here. Everybody turn around and see Eli and Cindy back here. So if you didn't know this, so investor schooling, you know, we grew and grew and grew and grew and grew and grew, and we do a ton of marketing. You guys know that, right? Anybody ever get an email from investor schooling? You guys got emails? Really? I wasn't sure if you were actually getting them. So I'm being.
He's being facetious.
Yes.
Just move on. Yes, everyone, all the time.
So Eli and Cindy are in charge of those emails. So they've been in charge of those emails almost since day one of investor schooling, and for 2 years, right? So they've been a big part of investor schooling, and I want to thank them. And in fact, if you guys are coming tomorrow, you guys coming tomorrow? Who's coming tomorrow? Who's not coming tomorrow? Which one, Charlie? Coming or not coming? You're not coming? All right. Well, let me tell you something.
could you?
If you're not coming tomorrow, and you don't have a good excuse, not for me, I don't really care because it doesn't matter to me. I'm rich. It doesn't matter to me. And you don't have a good excuse to come tomorrow, there's something wrong with you. Seriously. You are going to hear from people, some incredible speakers like Juliana. No, I'm bugging. But Cindy and Eli are going to be speaking. Actually, Eli's going to be speaking, I should say, about marketing. Hello? Did you notice that investor schooling is growing and growing and growing and growing and growing? Would you like to talk to the guy who helped investor schooling grow? Well, talk to Phil then. All right, getting back to whatever it is. Bitcoin, look at that. See, it hits. Look how much it dropped. It hit 66,000 yesterday. Do you know why it hit 66,000 yesterday? Anybody know? The ETF. Put up BITO. The Bitcoin ETF. Okay. Now, anybody watch my show the last couple of days? And I explained to you what the Bitcoin ETF really is. It is not what you think it is. And the first thing you think it is, it's an investment in Bitcoin, right? That is where you will make your biggest mistake putting money into this. It is not an investment in Bitcoin. It cannot be an investment in Bitcoin. The SEC has not approved that yet. This is the dumbest thing. They haven't approved that, but they have approved having Bitcoin futures. So just like oil futures, whatever futures, anybody know? What are they? They're options. Right, they're call options. So it's all call options. So when is the dumbest time to get into BITO? When it's high. So these idiots all yesterday got into BITO. It went up to $44, which was pretty good. And Bitcoin shot up to 66,000. The dumbasses are working it backwards at the moment. Because how many people do you think that this is a Bitcoin fund, not a Bitcoin futures fund? Right? Because you think that the people this is the problem. You guys think, or most people think, I shouldn't say you guys, because you guys are smarter than this. Most people think that investors in stock market are smarter than us. Right? They're not. They weren't even smarter than you before you came here. They're just as dumb as everybody else. And they make dumb decisions. I mean, you watch it all the time, right? Why did Facebook go down? Because Snapchat went down. Who cares? Right? Facebook shouldn't go down if Snapchat goes down. Do you really think that the 12-year-olds, are you using Snapchat? Okay. You really think that the 12-year-olds using Snapchat have any effect on the adults using Facebook? I should really say the 12-year-olds not using Snapchat anymore have any effect? No, it doesn't. It's stupid. These dumbasses sold it off. It's okay with me because tomorrow it's just a buying opportunity for me. And I've been waiting for it. I couldn't wait. It was great. But I just hope it stays down long enough because by tomorrow afternoon, Facebook is going to recover more than half. Going to recover more than half of what it'll open up at. Watch. It's gonna be. It literally could be a perfect daily play. Oh, all right. All right. What else you guys want to look at? Anything else? Ethereum. Wow, come on. The same thing. It's the same thing. But if you want to look at it, we'll look at it. So Ethereum is a 41. No big deal. Don't you want to talk about like anything good like Shiba or Dogecoin or Dogecoin? Dogecoin?
I mean, we could, but I feel like it's just so volatile.
What? Shiba? Shiba's great, man. It's up 3 times since I bought it. It ain't going back down.
No, yeah, obviously we got it at the right time, but I also feel like this was bought really high. Like, you can also like boost that.
Hold on.
All right, wait.
Yeah.
If you're gonna keep talking, you either got to talk with a microphone or let somebody else talk. All right, what do you got?
No, that.
It's on. It's on.
No, I'm just saying that like if you buy at a certain time, like if you buy too high and then it just drops, like you just lose all that money. That's why like,
Really?
I wouldn't.
If you buy too high, so let me tell you the strategy that we teach. So first of all, there's the strategy out there that most people do is they buy high and sell low. You'll go broke really fast doing that.
Yeah, of course.
We teach buy low and sell high.
Right.
Isn't that awesome strategy? All right, let's get back on. Who else? We got ADVM. So George, why would you have a 155 strike, George? Come on. Go back to all right. Let's just look at. Go to Apple for a second. I'm gonna yell at George. George is online. AAPL. Why? Put George on. George, raise your hand. George, you there? George, you there?
Yep, I'm there.
Or is it John?
It's John.
I figured it'd be John. Yeah, okay, John. I'm gonna ask you a question. Why would you have a 155 strike on Apple?
I want to have a 155 strike as a put on Apple.
And what?
As a
put.
A put.
Now you have a 155 strike as a put?
I'm thinking that after the earnings, which is Tuesday, I guess, on the 26th, I'm thinking it's going to go down.
Yeah, you know what? If you would have put a gun to my head and say, which you have to choose one, I would say you're probably right. But this is such a bad play for so many reasons. I don't know why you would have done it.
I'm just thinking. Let me ask the Sultan what he's thinking, and I got the answer already.
All right. Okay. Well, good luck with that. Too bad you didn't do that on Facebook. That would have been a much better play.
That's right.
All right, cut them off. They're making too much noise for me. Hey, by the way, you guys coming tomorrow? You're not coming? All right, that's fine. All right, what else we got here? Netflix. Netflix was weird. Netflix. What's up with Netflix, right? We have great earnings. We have great and then they get a downgrade. I mean, come on, really?
From the Germans.
From the Germans?
Yes, Deutsche Bank.
Oh, Deutsche. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. Well, it bounced back up, so that's fine. So again, Netflix to me has been an anomaly since I started investing in it many years ago. I can't do it. I mean, first of all, the price is too high. If they do a 4-for-1 split, that would be great. And I could probably think about it again, but I just can't at this price. It's just there's nothing here.
How about Kellogg, Larry, or something?
Somebody who brought up Kellogg? Was that brought up the other day? Okay, yeah, sure. And when are we talking about it? As a covered call? Oh, is it stock? Okay. Oh yeah, I see why. Okay. Oh, I like it. Who bought it? You buy it? Great. What'd you get? 60 strike. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, actually, but I went out two earnings because
fantastic.
Kellogg has a tendency to go after earnings. They go up.
Okay.
It's weird.
Fine.
So I bought 2 earnings.
Yeah, that's great.
For $3. How did you not? Or 4, whatever it was, 354.
And what else? CCL.
I do have a question about that. Can I ask you a question?
CCL or Kellogg?
No, I bought Kellogg the other day.
Right.
It went up 50 cents the next day, but I lost money. Can the time value change like that? Like,
so there's 2 things that could have happened. The time value could have, but it's not going to be much because you went out pretty far, right?
Yeah, it went 2 earnings.
First of all, you got to remember it went down 50 cents, and no,
it went up 50 cents.
It went up 50 cents, but the option went down.
But
So there might not have been anybody interested in it, didn't make a bid on it, and that happens because remember that the price that they're showing your account at is the mark. Right. So if it was, I don't know, let's say it was $3 and $5, that would be $4, right? Would be the mark, which also isn't accurate, right? Because somebody's asking 5 and somebody's bidding 3, nothing's going to happen. It's not going to be bought. But if this guy lowers this to $4.50, now the mark goes down, and that's why.
That's what I figured because even when I bought it, it took hours for it to fill because there was no interest in it.
Well, be careful if you're buying stock options without interest.
Right.
Just be careful because you can't sell them.
Right.
For the same reason.
But if this acts the way it's acted the last
probably.
3 earnings,
Yeah,
it's going to go up after earnings anyway,
Right.
which means it should sell for the next earnings.
Right.
So
All right, you guys ready? $20 strike price, or is it $22? What was the one? $25 strike price on Carnival in February is $1.80. Right? 25. Now it's out of the money. We don't normally do that, but there is no reason why Carnival shouldn't be at 30 now. The only thing is just a little bit of fear because now which variant is coming up now? I can't remember.
Delta Plus.
No. First is the D. So first the D, there has to be E because DEM would be
Delta
the next
Plus.
one.
I heard it today.
Dave,
It's in the UK.
Dave, let me go through it again. D would be this one. E would be the next one, and M would be the next one. You got the next one yet?
I get it, but it's
O.
Delta Plus.
Right. There you go. So that's the problem. Okay. So eventually they're going to run out of letters, and we might actually get this to come back. I mean, February, it's getting closer, which drives me nuts. It's getting closer, but let's see. And there was also, you got to remember that it hit 30. First of all, it hit 26 recently. If you give me a 6 month, it hit 30 within the last 6 months. Within the 6 months, it hit 30. It's highly likely it's going back there again by February. Highly likely. So I like this play. It's not a normal play for us. But if you look at anybody know what the $20 strike was? Because that was also cheap. And also the AAL was cheap too at the $20 strike.
It was like 4 something.
Yeah, they're cheap numbers. So I would look at these. I'm surprised that the options are so low. So these are definitely both good play. AAL, CCL, I'm still over them. RCL, if it drops to 72, if it does, that is an awesome call. So if the stock goes to 72, just whatever you want, even if you got a 75 strike, you'd be fine. Again, but I would try to be in the money, but that's also a great play. All right, what else we got here? Who else? Anything else? Anybody got one in here? Microsoft? Yeah, we can look at that. Microsoft, sure. You want to look at Disney? Is that what? Oh, who was in Pinterest this week? Pinterest. My freaking out price was 55. So I sold it freaking 1 day too early. I made 40%.
You never go
Damn
broke
it.
taking a profit.
Damn it! I only made 40%.
I only made
In
30.
3 days.
I only made 30, but I'm happy with the 30%.
And what'd you guys make?
The
What percentage did you make?
she's up 2,000.
You made $2,000, but I wondering what percentage you make. 'Cause I know you
was
killed it.
I was in the red the entire time until that day.
Until that
then
day,
I
yeah.
went up 40% that
That's
same
incredible. That's incredible. That was just that was great. And you ready? Who watched my show? What did I say about PayPal buying Pinterest? I don't think it's true. I don't think it's true. No, it does matter. Why does it matter? Where's Pinterest going now? Did you buy the put?
No, because you said I don't think so. You should wait. And
I'm not happy about it either, but if it happens, it's gonna go. I just told you to be cautious with it. That's all. But I'll tell you, watch Pinterest. Go put Pinterest up. I say Pinterest will be at 48
Pinterest
within 2 weeks. 48 within 2 weeks. So what? It's at the same price it was. But look at this, right? Pinterest dropped also because of Snap. I'll tell you something else. If it goes, it might be a good play at 55 as a call, but 48, jump all over it.
What about Pinterest?
What about what? What do you say? Anyway, say.
Pinterest, like Realtor.
Pinterest. I thought we were looking at Pinterest.
Pinterest.
What happened to Pinterest? What's the
Not-
ticker for that one?
There are definitely too many Pedros in here. Uh-huh.
At least I know how to say Pinterest.
It's
Okay, so what did you-
Pinterest.
You said buy it at when?
Pinterest.
I'm buying a put tomorrow.
Read it again. Pinterest.
What did you say to
Cannabis.
buy it at for a call? What did you say to buy it for?
I wouldn't touch it as a put.
With a
a call,
5-foot pole.
55 or less.
55.
But I really would like to see. I mean, 48, jump all over it. 55, it might float. So if it floats down to 55, it'll hover back up to 57. But if PayPal says, "What are you talking about? We were never going to buy them anyway," it's going to hit 48 fast, jump all over it, grab it for 3 or 4 point run, just like it did before. All right, you ready? All right, that's it. One more.
GE.
GE.
See.
Does Hat consider? I don't know
G?
what Jose means. Does Hat consider me a Pedro? Jose Rios? Because everybody used to call him Pedro. Is that why? I don't know. All right, General Electric. I told you this, right? What did I say? 80, right? I said 80. Let's just go to 80. Just wait. Just wait. It's going to 80. And when it hits in the 80 range, 75 to 80 range, it's a call. Until then, stay away. Just stay away from it. Just keep watching it, but stay away from it. Okay? All right. We are good, right? Who's coming tomorrow? Oh, we did that already. Yeah. Listen, I'm telling you right now that people are going to, at 10 o'clock tomorrow, I have a surprise for you. Or is it 10:30? I don't know. I have a surprise for you that you guys are going to love. All right. So you guys come back next week? Yes? Monday? All right, cool. We'll have some cool stuff for you. And I don't know. What else? Is that it? We're going to be here all night setting up for tomorrow. So I got to get up the stage.